Hello, this is the Nightline Podcast. My name's James Pikeway, and if you want to learn more about the program, please go to www.dubai1038.com or email us, nightline@dubai1038.ae. Enjoy the show. You're listening to Cartalk, Dubai 103.8 FM. Shahzad's here from Motoring Middle East, which means we are in for an evening of...
just cars, hopefully.
But
you never know.
Extraordinary conversation about all things automotive.
Well, last time we were talking about Star Trek for half the show, so you never know, really.
I wonder what William Shatner drives.
Oh, he rides a bike. He's a biker. In fact, he's made his own bike. He actually has a partnership in a company. They manufacture their own bikes, and he has a three-wheeler.
Nice.
Which he's designed, and he's also designed some mad, sort of really futuristic, something that would be befitting of a Starfleet captain, you know.
Okay.
But
awesome.
He's got some crazy stuff, yeah.
Talking about crazy stuff, I had the unique pleasure over the last 2 weeks to be driving a Ford Ranger and a Ford F-150. I'm still driving the F-150.
You're full on Ford, aren't you?
I'm full on Ford.
You've had a fortnight of Ford.
It is, yeah. It's been phenomenal. I gotta say.
Oh right, we're just carrying on in the Fs now, are we?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Oh,
just my heart is fibrillating.
This could go on all night, folks.
I gotta say, I'm driving the F-150 right now, and this is easily the largest vehicle I've ever driven.
It's big, isn't it?
It's huge.
Yeah.
Have
you been in the mall yet?
Yes.
Ooh, I bet that's a bit nerve-wracking.
It's nerve-wracking when you leave the vehicle sticking out by 2 feet from a parking spot, wondering, I hope no one hits it.
Yeah.
I really hope no one hits it. In the aviation...
You know where you should take it?
Well,
I think it's the Bourgemont Center.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
They have an underground car park.
Yeah,
go in there.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
It's amazing because when you come out of the truck, you'll actually bang your head on the ceiling.
So the Ford 150, it's got the crew cab, the whole bit. It's red.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's fully equipped. Yeah. This thing is not just big on the outside, it's big on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only vehicle I've ever driven, Shahzad, where I actually use the step, use the handrest, and pull myself onto the seat.
That's right. It's the only vehicle you've probably driven where you actually radio ahead and let people know that you're coming and to clear a space for you.
But you get utmost respect when you're merging in, and I don't do the obnoxious merging, but you put your signal light on, and people actually...
It's not respect, mate. It's fear.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, big red thing at 9 o'clock, move!
This thing has got the EcoBoost engine.
Yeah.
It's turbo.
It's very sensible.
And I said one of the crazy things was we were in Karama. I parallel parked in Karama, by the way. Yeah, I know.
You don't know how many cars you actually drove over in that process, but
parallel parking this beast in Karama.
It's got cameras and stuff, right?
It does. I didn't use them. I don't use the cameras because I had to do it old school.
You need it for the last inch or so.
Yeah. I ended up on the curb. Anyway, the spot was a little small. But I'm coming out of Karama. And you're coming out one of those slip roads, and it's like, okay, I just got to merge in, and so I goosed it.
Yeah.
I put the foot down just to give a little speed.
Yeah.
Spun the tires with traction control on.
My
son looks at my son.
Awesome.
It was awesome. My son looks at me and he goes, "That was not necessary."
Oh yes, it was.
And I'm going, "What are you talking about?"
Yes, it was, son. And one day you shall know why. No, it has to be done. It has to be done.
It is huge.
Isn't it wonderful to have so much torque on hand that you overwhelm the traction control? The traction control just gives in.
Unbelievable.
Just throws a towel in and says, forget about it.
I was overwhelmed by the back seat.
Yeah, it's spacious.
It's spacious. It's huge.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So you have a vehicle where you have great front space, you have great space for your rear passengers, and then you can carry a house on the back as well.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
It's and the amount of technology on board was just bewildering. It for the most part, all the technology works.
Yeah.
I've got to say, really impressed.
Yeah. What do you mean for the most part?
Well,
what didn't work?
Okay, I didn't love the stereo.
Really?
I mean, nice Sony system.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Right.
I wasn't a big fan.
Sony isn't the force that it once used to be,
no,
though, is
and
it?
I like Sony stuff, but I thought, but what was a little irritating was first of all, the cruise control features on the steering wheel. I love old school and they're big, so they're for a blind guy like me.
Yeah.
But they were a little difficult to actually get to. I constantly found myself looking if I was going to go to.
Right.
The second thing was the signal indicator light and the windshield washer controls are all on one.
Right.
There's only one on the left. There's not one on the right.
Right.
And I just found that very awkward.
Yeah.
Small things, because at least it doesn't rain a lot here.
But you see, the things like that are things that, as an owner,
yeah,
for example,
you get used to it.
What you're saying there is, I have exactly the same feelings when it comes to Mercedes cars, because Mercedes always put their cruise control on a stalk and then hide the stalk behind the steering wheel spoke. I mean, like perfectly positioned, so you have no idea. And there's not enough room to look around the steering either. So basically, you're sort of looking around the steering and then have a crash in the meantime, so whatever, So all the safety systems in the Merc didn't really help. But I know exactly what you mean. And they do the same thing with the stalks, where they just, because in Mercedes, the right stalk is actually the gear shifter, because they have a column-mounted gear shifter. So the left stalk has to do everything.
There we go.
So it gets overly complicated.
It was kind of weird, but you get used to it.
But as an owner, you would get used to it.
Here's what I loved. There's so much control where the vehicle is trying to decide things for you. For instance, I'm driving down the street to my house. It's dark. Got the lights on. The vehicle decided on its own, you know what, you need high beams. And then a car came, it turned them off. And I'm going,
automatic high beams.
Wow. I really got out of this vehicle going, I just said, I love you. I was hoping it was going to respond back.
So you're giving in to the autonomous driving aids, are you?
No, I just like some of those things.
This is what I call the slow creep. This is what's happening.
I think you're right. I love the steps to get into the box in the back as well.
Does it have the fold-down ones?
Yes.
All right, cool.
And electronic box, so where you open up the tailgate in the past, you sort of lever it open. And all electronic now. And I thought, oh, this is going to break. No.
So this is the tailgate.
Yes, the tailgate.
Yeah, that's right. It's a power tailgate.
And yes, if that breaks, there's a latch on the top. You can do it manually. I went, oh, man, they've been thinking. They've been thinking. Cooled and heated seats.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was very nice.
Did you do the whole, elbow on the window? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm wearing the baseball cap today, because you got to drive it with that on. And that was one of my other things. So they kind of trying to wrap my head around. You've got the electronics. You can use the display screen to control everything, or for the air conditioning and all that sort of stuff, and the heat if you want heat in the winter. You could use the manual controls. And I'm just predisposed to wanting to use the manual controls. They don't want you using the manual controls because they make it just hard. But I really like those. So I thought, man, guys, make this a little bit easier for me. But it did force me to go to the screen and just say, okay, I'll do it this way.
That's the problem, isn't it? And I mean, it's like, I'll be putting up a review on the E-Class soon, and it's one of the same things. I mean, I'm talking about Mercedes. It's funny how we're finding parallels between a Ford truck and a Mercedes executive saloon. But I have the same problem. The new Mercedes E-Class, for all its technology and gadgetry, and it's got tons of stuff on it, you do sometimes get into an E-Class, you go, I just want to drive it. I just want to set the radio and the air conditioning, and I just want to go. I don't want to play with all of this stuff.
And I think that's where at least this Ford has really nailed it. There is some whiz-zo gadgetry in there, but for the most part they've kept it just clean and tidy and simple.
That's what you want, especially in a truck.
And a nice big hardy gear shifter. If they put it on the tree, it would even be better. But
they need, and also with trucks like that, they're always designed for, they normally have big buttons, and that's because if you're wearing gloves. Because a lot of those trucks are designed, they're designed to operate in those sort of environments and for those sort of people who could be wearing very thick gloves. So the buttons need to be not delicate, but quite big and bold, and you can punch at them, with a fat digit, So it's supposed to be very, very practical.
Yeah, well, it was, and I'm unfortunately giving it back tomorrow. So I know
the wrench.
It's like, really, I keep trying to give them really obscure times to come and get it. And there we go.
When they come in together, it's not here. It's gone off somewhere. It had to run an errand. It'll be back fortnight from tomorrow. It'll be back.
We got a whole bunch more to talk about here. This is Cartalk. Shahzad's here from Motoring Middle East. If you've got questions, join us right now. This is how. Shahzad is here from Motoring Middle East. It's Cartalk time, and we're heading to the phones. Let's see who's joining us. Good evening. Welcome to Nightline.
Hi, good evening. Hi, Shahzad. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Hi, who's this?
This is Ahmed here. So I've been following your YouTube blog.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. That's so good of you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I have a quick question. When you say that, if you have to compare Ford Edge Sport or a Volvo XC60 Polestar, which one do you recommend?
Well, there's a brand new Edge, you see. Literally just
that's
hit
a brand new Edge.
There's a completely brand new Edge that's just hit the showroom. So I mean, honestly speaking, I would go for the newer car. I mean, if you're in the market for a new car, go for the newer car, and that is a new model. I drove it very briefly in Jordan, literally just a few kilometers, and I'm trying to get. I will try and get another one on test here and do a review on it soon. But from the brief drive, I was really impressed with it. I thought it was really good. So definitely have a look at that one. What was the other choice?
The XC60 Polestar.
XC60, yeah. I mean, XC60 is a great car. But Volvo is going through that whole, they're essentially revamping their entire lineup, and they're coming out with some amazing new products, such as the XC90, the S90, and the V90. These cars are new Volvo. They represent a complete, a departure from old Volvo. And, really, if I bought a new Volvo today, personally, I'd be a little disappointed because I'd want either the XC90 or the S90. See what I mean? To get the latest flavor of Volvo. So I'd go for the Ford Edge if I were you.
That's a 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine, isn't it?
I'd have to double-check. I haven't got the details with me. I could double-check that for you if you contact me on MME.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your call. Have a great night.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Carrying on with Ford, we've got another text that's come through. Can you tell us about the Ranger? Was it the Wild Track, and how was it in the desert? I did drive the Wild Track. Wild Track 3.2-liter turbo diesel.
Diesel, that's right.
Diesel, and I know some people are like, oh, diesel. I say, you know what? This was the true litmus test.
Yeah.
So driving the F-150, I've got my 6'2" son sitting beside me.
Yeah.
And we've been in the F-150 for me, 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
And he looks over at me and goes, Dad? I go, yeah. He goes, you know that other Ford we were driving?
Yeah. The Ranger.
Yeah. And he goes, I think I like it better.
Yeah.
And I'm going,
that's amazing.
What? And I said, but what do you like better about it? And he says, I just like the ride.
Yeah.
I just liked the vehicle better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we started thinking about this, and there were elements about it. Well, first of all, the F-150, when you put your pedal to the metal, this thing torque, it growls, and it's
it's a monster.
The Ranger, you put your pedal to the metal, it just but it doesn't. It just increases. So 0 to 100 about 10.2 seconds. So
it's not quick, but it builds.
It builds and it keeps building. So you hit 160.
Yeah.
And you're looking down, and you're still under 3,000 RPM, and it's not giving up. And you're going, what is going on here?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people listening to the show today will not be used to the characteristics of a diesel, but diesels are all about low down torque, you know. And although they may have the smaller number when it comes to 0 to 100s and 0 to 60s, if you like, but actually, in the real world, because of the torque, and because in the real world using mid-range punch, for example, if the torque band is in the right place, actually diesels are better as daily drivers,
140 dirhams to fill the tank with diesel.
And there's that as well,
and at one point, 875 kilometer distance off a tank.
Yeah. And this thing will go anywhere.
Well, this was the other thing. So we get into it, and this was a little deceiving to me because I get in, and it essentially has the dash of a Ford Fusion.
Yeah.
So I've been driving Fusions all summer. I'm looking at it, and I'm going, man, I know this car. Easy to hook up everything, and this was amazing because
So do you think that that's the appeal of the Ranger, in that it is this big, utilitarian truck on the one hand, but quite a friendly, familiar environment on the other?
I think that's exactly what it was. It was nicely laid out. It wasn't too over the top in anything. Whereas the F-150, I mean, it's beautiful.
That's massive,
and it's beautiful inside. Not that the Ranger's not beautiful, but it's a little bit more
familiar. If you're used to a car or something.
Well, that's the thing. It doesn't drive like a car. And so I got in, and I'm looking at it, and I'm driving, and I see the dash. I'm thinking, oh, this is a car. I start driving instantly. I'm in love with this vehicle. For no other reason that it drives like my Jeep Wrangler.
That's amazing.
Feels like my Wrangler. And I'm going, I can feel the road. And I was then talking to someone with an FJ, and then I was talking to some people with Patrols and Land Cruisers, and I was saying, you get in and you're on the road and you're driving, and it's like driving on a pillow. Which is okay. That's what they're designed to be like. They're very luxurious.
That's right.
This vehicle, while nicely equipped, you feel the road, and you feel like, you know what? I own a piece of this.
Yeah, I mean, it puts you in touch with what's going on, and it's, at the end of the day, don't forget, these are commercial vehicles, and that's what they're about. So then they're not so much about comfort. They're more about utility and about what you can do with them. I mean, I drove exactly the same vehicle that you had, and I drove it on a road trip in Jordan. And we drove through wadis, and we drove through sand.
Well, this was the question people are asking: how is it off-road? I was surprised.
Yeah, it's very good.
How good it was off-road. And
I mean, Imti's taken it off-road, and he's taken it into sand, and he's done proper off-roading with it.
Switch
and he
on
was
the fly.
Yeah, it's fine.
Switch on the fly. Boom. It's high.
Yeah.
I thought for sure I was going to get this thing stuck.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Plenty of torque. It just powers through everything. I was blown away.
Yeah.
Phil Yusuf's comes through and says, man, it's a little costly though when you start looking at the Rangers.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
So
it's a unique segment that, you
Well,
know,
and that's
and
it.
you got, what else have you got in there? So you got the Amarok from VW, you got the Ranger, you got Nissan is now introducing Navara. But the Ranger as the Wild Track comes with accessories. It comes with like quite cool looking stuff. The other thing about the Ranger, now you've driven it, I've driven it, I know a lot of other people that have driven it. I have never yet met anybody that's driven a Ranger, got out and said, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Everybody that drives that car says, this is really nice.
I like the ambient lighting inside that you can change the colors.
That's a Ford thing.
The back seat, not as huge a space as the F-150, but still very doable. We drove all the way. We drove well past Abu Dhabi in this thing and back.
Yeah.
And there was no...
As a family.
As a family.
Yeah.
With luggage that we put into the bed, and it has the bed cover.
That's
I mean,
right,
this vehicle, the Wild Track, was totally equipped.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, and this was the other thing that I like about this vehicle. When you start thinking, okay, if I want a 4x4, I want something that I can toss around, I can load stuff in. I don't have a problem loading some bags of cement or a whole bunch of plants and soil, and then also driving it to the Burj Khalifa for dinner.
Yeah. And also parking it.
And parking easy to park.
Yeah.
But the beauty of this vehicle is when you look at the road and you look at all of the pickups that are out there being driven, and then you look at how many Rangers do you see? You don't see that many. So you've got this...
They feel exclusive. You're like, hey, look at me. I'm in a Ranger.
And I was driving that rust orange colored one.
Yeah, same one, same car. Yeah.
So people...
If people go onto motoringme.com, they'll see the same one that was in the Jordan trip.
I love that vehicle. And it
really
turns
good.
heads. I was surprised. I'm driving in the fast lane. I don't speed, but I'm driving in the fast lane, and I'm coming up behind a car that's going slowly. And it was, your typical LS400 black tinted windows. The guy got out of my way.
Yeah.
And I'm going... I kind of got out after and
looked
at
but this thing is high.
It's high.
It's orange. It's bright orange. Yeah. It's got the overhead. It's got the rollover bar at the top. So
which lights up when you get out. It puts the lights on. Yeah. Oh man!
It is the business, you know. So there you go. So it's a perfect family vehicle.
Yeah.
And it's small enough to park in malls and stuff.
That's true. Yeah. Phil's come back and he says, "Hey, but you can get an F-150 for the price of a Ranger." Yeah, which model are we looking at though?
I'd have to check. I don't have the prices in front of me, so I'd have to check.
Yeah.
But I mean, you may well be right. But at the end of the day, we're not saying. I don't think it's a fair comparison, F-150 or a Ranger. I think if you want an F-150, you will go for an F-150.
I think they're
you
different
will not
segments.
look at the Ranger at all.
I think they're very different segments.
I think for some people. And as we talked earlier about the fact that these are you've run this for a week, and I previously ran the GMC Sierra Denali for a couple of months. The size can be putting off sometimes. It can be off-putting, and taking it into malls or taking it into car parks can be a bit worrying.
Yeah.
So here's an opportunity with cars like the Ranger where you can downsize your pickup truck, but still get pretty much most of the benefits of a pickup truck, but just have something that's a bit more agile and a bit more city friendly.
Yeah.
So I think there is that aspect of it to keep in mind. But at the end of the day, if you want an F-150, that's what you're going to go for.
Exactly. I mean, they're very different vehicles, different segments that they're playing to, and I gotta say, I was super impressed with that diesel engine. Not so noisy. I thought it would be noisier. Just an interesting vehicle to drive in. I would buy one.
Yeah.
And that was, I love the F-150s. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They're great. I wouldn't buy one.
Yeah.
And for no good reason. I just maybe it's a little bit too large in the market here.
Well, that's exactly what I was getting at. For a lot of people, they'd just be put off with it a little bit by saying, that is just a tad too big for me to be using as a daily driver. But I want a pickup truck with a bit of style.
Yeah.
Then Ranger's an option to look at, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, we got more to talk about. Phil is on fire here on the line. He's made some comparison. He says it's like buying a Macan GTS instead of a Cayenne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, in that case, buy the Cayenne.
Yeah, buy the Cayenne. In fact, I saw a Cayenne today, and I kind of went, "Why would you buy that car?"
Yeah.
But anyways. Oh yeah, different strokes for different folks. Both very interesting vehicles.
Has he mentioned a Chinese vehicle by any chance?
Oh yes, he has.
Okay, we can get to that.
We're going to get to that in a second. Hey, we're talking cars. If you want to join in the conversation, by all means do. We'll give you the directions for participation right now. We've been talking all Ford, and Kent's come through, and he said, "Hey, I'm a big fan of turbo diesel engines. Much better acceleration than normal gasoline vehicles, and better sound."
I think
I don't know about the acceleration.
You may be stirring a hornet's nest there, but with the
better sound for sure.
I mean,
like, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I give me a good old-fashioned V8. But having said that, you know, you will find us fans of diesel engines here. I mean, I drove a lot of diesels in the UK, and some of those newer diesels are getting absolutely amazing. I mean, not only are they economical, but they're actually quite fun to drive. I've driven a Golf GTI, GTI diesel, or GT, whatever they call it now. But I've driven one of those.
Really?
And that was hilarious good fun. And again, in real-world scenario, the torque is instantly accessible. So it's fantastic, yeah.
Hold that thought. We're heading back to the phone lines. Good evening. Welcome to Nightline.
Oh, hi, James.
Hi, how are you?
It's Ben here. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So listen, I had a bit of a question about, I was driving home the other day with my son in my convertible, and
what kind of convertible are we talking about here?
It's an Audi A5.
Okay,
very nice.
And you know, the thing is, he was saying, hey, Dad, I really hope we hold on to this car because, you know, it's not only my son, but I also have his brother, and now recently his sister. And that, you know, the sister is only 3 months old now. But pretty soon I'm going to be having to take her along with the others onto school runs.
Right.
And unfortunately, as far as I can tell with convertibles, you can only find 4-seater convertibles. And I'm just wondering if there's any way I can keep that sort of convertible, you know, experience alive while still dropping off, you know, 4 kids.
That is a very, very good question, and I am racking my brains at the moment, trying to think of what cars could fit into that. There used to be, you're going to hate me for saying it, but there used to be a PT Cruiser convertible that used to be ideal in that scenario because they had a proper rear seat, but I'm just...
you know, this is a real challenge because convertibles typically are...
what about the Beetle?
I think
there's a Beetle convertible.
Well, I mean, as I understand it, there's something in the chassis. The chassis has to be stiffer when you don't have a roof. So you always end up with this sort of, you know, central aisle that's taken up. And I was hoping that there's a Range Rover Sport convertible.
No, Evoque.
Thought,
Evoque. There's an Evoque convertible.
Come out.
That's coming.
Evoque,
I think it's literally just starting to hit showrooms. But again, I haven't actually seen that in person, and I don't know how big the rear seat is on that car. I'm assuming it's at least a 4-seater for sure, but whether or not it's a 5-seater, I'm not so sure about. There is a car I tried recently, the Rolls-Royce Dawn, but
that's still only a 4-seater as well. No, that's not a 5-seater. That's only a 4-seater.
Can you arrange a test drive
sure.
You know, Chrysler.
Just go down to HMC on Shahzad Road. I'm sure they'll.
The Chrysler hasn't brought their convertibles here. I think you know what?
The only one I can think of at the moment is the Beetle. Honestly speaking,
you sure it's a 5-seater?
I'm just trying to pull up pictures. I'm just trying to pull up pictures of it. But as I recall, yes, that one would fit into that. But there aren't. You're quite right. There aren't many. Well, full 5-seat convertibles.
Phil has come through on exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, Jeep Wrangler. Yeah,
a Jeep Wrangler Unlimited with a soft top.
That is a convertible. That is a convertible.
That's a 5-seater. And that'll give you, you know, and that's a nice safe vehicle. That'll work for you, and you can.
But the only trouble with that is you don't press a button to.
No, you've got to do it manually.
Yeah, I know exactly. And if the weather's bad, you know, and you got all that hassle of, you know,
that's it.
bolting this thing on.
No, but if you but what you do is you buy the soft top option. So you take off the hard top and you drive it with a soft top, so that when you want to put the roof down, it's a really simple task when it's a soft top. And you can put it up really quick too, and you can buy the soft top for it.
It might actually be your only option because I've just confirmed. I'm just looking at pictures of the rear seat in the Beetle, and I'm afraid that's a 2-seater as well. So I think the Jeep is the way to go.
I mean, I'm a Jeep owner. I've been driving my Jeeps. One of them's a soft top. The thing goes up so fast. It's a great option. And then if your kids are getting a little older and you want to have some fun, you can put the rails on the doors and take the doors off, and next thing you know, you got the coolest machine on the road for the kids. So
sounds great.
So you
well, maybe it's a soft top convertible Jeep for me.
Yeah,
I think that's
Wrangler Unlimited.
Yeah,
awesome.
Okay, cheers, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Good night.
So Phil, thank you very much for that as well. I didn't want to be pushing my Wranglers, but Phil provoked me.
Well, the thing is like, you know,
Phil's also a Wrangler lover as well.
There you go. So. Yeah, but it's like it's a convertible, but. Yeah. it doesn't, a lot of people think convertible, press a button, down goes the roof,
this is handy.
and then goes back. But this thing is like you've got to commit to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am doing convertible today, all day. It's got to be like that. Yeah. So it's a bit tricky, that one.
Exactly. I don't want to say that you're eating your hat, but you are eating your hat because you have had nothing good to say about Chinese vehicles, and that you would
past the salt and pepper.
nothing at all. And next thing I know, you are test driving a made in China vehicle.
Yeah.
and I think one of the key things as we were talking about it, you said the air conditioning is so cold, and it becomes so cold so fast. You were in awe.
Look. All right, the last time I looked at a Chinese car...
it's not a refrigerator you're driving.
The last time I looked at a Chinese car, in seriousness, I went down, we had one in the office, and I went down to drive it. I opened the door. I felt like the door was going to come off in my hand. I opened the door. The plastics looked like they were just melting in the sun. It looked terrible. I didn't even want to get into this thing, never mind drive it. I shut the door, almost ripped it off its frame, went back to the office and threw the keys on the desk. So I'm not driving that. That was my last experience with a Chinese car. Admittedly, that was about 7 years ago. So they have, I'm pleased to report they have moved on. I'm driving a car at the moment called the Shenzhen. I'm not even sure how you pronounce it, but as far as I can make out, it's the Changan CS75. It's a compact crossover thing, so it's a high-riding thing. Prices for this start at about 50,000 and go up to 60,000, and I'm driving a top-of-the-range one. Yeah. With the leather and the bells and the
60
stereo
grand
and everything.
for top of the line?
That's it, and it's got everything on it. It's not four-wheel drive, it's only front-wheel drive, and it has a 1.8 liter, 175 brake horsepower turbo engine. So it's not the quickest thing out of the box. But having said that, particularly the one I've got, it's all black. It looks a lot like a Range Rover Evoque from some angles, a BMW from some angles. It's a mixture of different cars. It's almost like they mixed up the tracing paper and they thought, oh, let's just make that one. It's got some cool black wheels on it. I drove it for the first time this morning. It was delivered last night, so I got the kids in it. I thought I'll drop them at school. I turned the AC straight up full because I thought, that's going to be a wimpy unit in this Chinese car. And within seconds, we were actually freezing, and I kept trying to turn the damn thing down because it was getting too cold. Then, in addition to that, we hooked up my phone to the stereo and got great sound out of the system. In fact, better than the Mercedes SLC 43 stereo that I was testing the few days before. Yeah, I was actually very disappointed with the Mercedes because Mercedes are doing great systems at the moment. So why they put a very average system into their range-topping SLC, I don't really know and I can't understand. But anyway, this had a better system.
The Chinese lady that called in several months ago in defense of Chinese vehicles, you owe her a personal apology.
Well, look,
I wish we had her phone number.
Put it this way, you know what?
Call them the embassy. You can talk to them too. Hold on.
Shahzad issues a formal apology to the entire peoples of China. Yeah. No, I mean, to be honest, I think they are starting to catch up. Now, where it falls apart...
60 grand, though. 60 grand.
It's great value for money. Now, where it falls apart, though, of course, the performance is not there. The brakes leave a lot to be desired. The ride is okay. It's smooth enough.
Does it stop?
It eventually it
there
stops.
You go.
Yeah, but there's not progress there, but... And the plastics are a little cheap, and it does, you do feel like... But it's got all the kit.
Is this the Korean of 15, 20 years ago?
No, I wouldn't go that far back. I wouldn't go far with that.
10 years ago?
Because 15 years ago, Korean cars were pretty deadly. I mean, they weren't great. I would go 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
Actually. Yeah, I would go 5 or 6 years ago. So I think they're going to catch up pretty fast with the Koreans.
Well, I've seen several versions of MGs that are on the road that are and
actually look quite good.
They
some
look
of them.
really nice.
Yeah, they do. Admittedly, even I've looked at one or two of them, and gone, "Ooh, that's
maybe
we should give that a try." Yeah, I mean, look, put it this way: I was expecting to universally dislike this car. I'm not. I
say this again.
I'm not.
Hold on, I didn't hear. Let me turn up my headphones. You were expecting to universally dislike this car, but you're not?
I'm not, no. That's not to say that I'm in love with it. That's not to say that I'm heading down to the dealership to put down a deposit on it. But
you've only had it one day.
I've only had one day in the car, admittedly. But I'm grudgingly saying it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and actually there is quite a few to merit it. So I think, they may be on the march. I think we may have to start looking at them a little bit more seriously now, to be honest, on the basis of this experience.
Can you say that again, just one more time? So
I'm onto my third hat now.
So essentially, you're taking back the thoughts that you would never drive a Chinese car.
Well, I'm driving one.
Yeah.
I am driving one.
Wow.
I'm driving one right. It's outside. It's parked outside.
Can't wait to see it.
The only fail, the only black point it's got so far is that it wasn't able to charge
your
my phone. It's got one USB in it, and for some reason it refused to charge my iPhone on the way here, which was slightly alarming. So, but aside from that, it's managed to do everything else. I mean, there are bits of it that feel a little bit old-fashioned. They feel like, circa, 2005 or something.
It's perfect. I love 2005. That was a good year.
Good vintage, yeah. But yeah,
it doesn't have an 8-track in it, right?
Put it this way, right? I'm not saying that you should go out and put your own money in this car, but if it was a choice on a list of cars that your company was offering you or something, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if I have 60,000 dirhams and I need a car, this might actually fill
Well, I might have
void.
another option for you.
Okay, hold on to that thought then. We're stumped, actually, and back to the conversation, looking for 5-seater convertibles.
Yeah.
It seems the Wrangler Unlimited is it.
The only alternative, as far as I can tell, then, is either to have a custom car made, so they get a car like a Ranger or something, as people do over our patrol, or you got to go way back to the 50s heyday America and get one of those big land yachts that could,
like I said,
you could put 16 people in a convertible then.
The Wrangler Unlimited is it.
That's it. It seems
awesome.
to be. Now, I would love for anybody out there to send in a message or call us and
5-seater
tell us.
Convertible. Yeah.
But it had a current on sale 5-seater convertible. Can anybody tell us if there is one out there?
Saeed's come through. Saeed, we don't have any prices, unfortunately. We're not doing price guides. You gotta talk to the grandfather over at Autodata.
So he's talking about what? Is he talking about old Nissans and stuff?
Yeah, he's got a price for a 3.5 liter 2014.
The best thing to do in these sort of scenarios is to go onto Dubizzle and the other classifieds and look for similar cars, and then start to work out an average on the basis of what you see on there, and that'll give you a pretty good gauge of, how much the market is willing to pay for those type of cars.
I want to jump into, we're talking about cool vehicles and things to buy. You were at the Dodge Neon 2017 launch today.
Now, I have to really clear this up because I put up a few posts today on the Motoring Middle East Facebook page and on our Instagram account as well. And there was a lot of confusion because people were like, okay, so the Neons come back, or have they changed the name of the Dart, or what's actually happening here? And I can understand the confusion because this is actually quite a unique vehicle. In fact,
the Neon is not a new vehicle, but this is
the Neon name was there before. But those
were nice vehicles, those Neons.
But this Dodge Neon, this 2017 designated Dodge Neon, is an entirely new vehicle.
Do I want one? That's the question.
Well, let me just give you the background to what it is, because I do feel.
Do I want one? Can you give me a teaser, just maybe, kind of?
Well,
sort of?
this is basically.
Because you like Chinese cars now, so.
Whoa! But
it's amazing you can talk after eating 3 hats.
They're bringing a 4th one in a minute. So I asked for some toppings on this one. So no, I mean this is a car. Yes, because this car goes into the Corolla, Tiida, that segment, and what you're talking about is a car
busy. That's a dangerous
zone.
It's
very busy, but what you're talking about is a car that can come in at a good value, but highly contented with a lot of stuff on it. And if it can do that, then yes, it is a good car.
Because I mean, the Corolla really owns that segment. I mean, when you look at that price range and that size, and it's got the reputation, it's got the legacy.
That's it.
Do you think the Neon stands a chance?
So just indulge me, because what we're looking at here is actually a Fiat Tipo. And again, people will say, oh, the Fiat Tipo, that's an old car. No, again, this is a relaunch of an old nameplate by Fiat. Now, the Fiat Tipo is a completely new car, a new platform, and is built not in Europe, not in America. It is built in Turkey.
Ooh.
So this car, the Dodge Neon, is rebadged Fiat Tipo, and it is available only for us here in the Middle East and Mexico. Right? It doesn't even go to America.
Nice!
We are getting this exclusively. So it's Mexicans and us. We're getting this car. And Europe gets the Fiat Tipo. Now, what you then have is, in essence, a European design engineered car. And the car that I drove today had great steering, had a fantastic chassis. It's one of those cars where, if you think back to the old Civic, it was as like a likely tuner car. Yeah. It had that sort of feel about it. It's like, it's got a lot of give to in that little chassis. We only had a very brief convoy drive in the car, but you could feel the steering was there, the turning is there, the grip is there, the riding refinement is very good. But it only has a 1.6 liter engine, 115 horsepower.
Automatic or standard?
Automatic, 6-speed automatic. So it's going for fuel economy. This car is about fuel economy. But I do feel like if you could get some more power to that engine, you could exploit the chassis. But where this car is a winner is again in the content that it got. So you get a base model starts at 57,000. There's a mid model at 64, and then the top of the range car that we were driving for 67. Now the 67 car has got everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a monitor in the middle.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's got the monitor. It's got all the stuff that you used to in Dodge products.
Yeah.
So that full screen in the middle with all the controls.
How's the rear lights? How's the tail lights?
The tail lights on this are not the usual thing. You're not thinking the full length. It doesn't get that. It doesn't get that. It looks really good from the front. I thought the best angle was front 3/4 to me. The rear was a very European look about it. It's got a very kind of Peugeot Renault look about it. But the front and front 3/4 is very Dodge. It's very, very Dodge. But you know, I quite liked it. I think in terms of value for money, I think it's excellent. I wouldn't consider it myself because I think I would like to see an SRT version of this at some point. I think that an SRT4, for example, I think that would be something awesome, something really, really cool. But yeah, another new contender in that, like you say, fiercely fought segment. But again, it's a little bit different, a little bit interesting.
Up though. Corolla.
But again, very powerful air conditioning. Great stereo system. Good ride, good comfort.
Well, we'll see.
And my colleague who was driving the car got very excited because it has telescopically adjusted steering.
There we go.
Okay?
See, that's big. I like that.
There we go. Seal the deal.
Ooh,
Seal the deal.
Like it. I want to go back to Saeed because he said, hey, guys, I really do love the show. He wants to know Nissan Maxima 2014 or an Altima 3.5 2014. If you had a choice between the Altima and the Maxima, both the same year, which way would you go?
I think the Maxima.
I think you'd have to go the Maxima.
Yeah, because if you can choose either or, then the Maxima is the slightly more upmarket car.
It's a nicer ride.
Yeah, you get the better seats, you get the better ride, you get the better suspension. It'll probably, I can't remember what the engine is on that one, but
it's a Maxima. I mean,
it's a Maxima. Go for that one.
It is a cool car, so I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, go for that one definitely.
And what for me, Saeed, what seals the deal is the Altima 3.5. Is an American spec car. I wouldn't buy it.
No, then you're opening up to potential problems if you do that. So, so probably just stick with the Maxima 2014 is the one that I would probably suggest you go for.
Phil Yusuf's come back and he says the Infiniti Q60 convertible seats 5.
What now? See, now I'm going to have to look that up because, with Infiniti names and stuff, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Yeah. So yeah, talk amongst yourselves. Well, I try and figure out what that is.
I don't know. I mean, I always have trouble with the Infiniti stuff. I can never figure it out. It's, I'm actually having a lot of trouble. I need Callum Knox to send us over.
So this is a G37. This is what used to be the G37.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. So, but that's surely only a 4-seater as well, because that's a coupe shape.
I don't know. You're going to find out.
Yeah.
But I need Callum to send me the cheat sheet for Mercedes because I can just never figure out.
I mean, I've just about, because I had the SLC recently, and I've just about understood what they're doing. So they've got their A-Class, C-Class, E-Class, S-Class. So basically the entire range now revolves around these classes. And so the SLC, SL now designates Roadster. So the SLC that I had is SL for Roadster and C for the segment that it fits in.
Oh,
right? So it's not a Roadster, it's an SLC. That's the Mercedes rules. Except that Mercedes breaks their own rules when they've just released the gorgeous, gorgeous AMG GT S Roadster.
Yeah, I know.
So they're not calling it the SL, it's the Roadster. It's like, hang on, come on. You can't have your cake and eat it.
We're going to pick this up next week. We're going to be talking GMC Acadia.
Yes.
Because Imtishan's
we're in the States doing that one.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. We're gonna also be talking about, oh man, we've got a couple of texts that have come through from Ali that we never got to, so we'll get to those, I promise, next week. And we'll be talking about the Volt. I'm hoping we're going to get a Volt here.
No information on that at the moment. That's a Volt, of course, is a full electric car, and the last time we had a full electric car was Fisker, and they've gone out of business.
Yeah, so this is Volt. This is Volt. So we stand a chance.
Let's see. Tesla first, I think. Anyway, yeah.
I'd probably buy a Volt first. Hey, Shahzad, as always, Motoring Middle East, you guys are doing a great job all over social media. Facebook it's my first stop. I love the webpage, motoringme.com. If you want to go check it out,
Thanks.
Please do.
I'm going to stop by the hat shop on my way home and pick up some more hats to eat.
Talk to you next week, same place, same time. Spread the word. Grab the podcast if you want. Nightline, it's simply DubaiI1038.com/Nightline is how you find us. And hey, we'll be back next week. Same place, same time. So do